Indian nuclear reactors. Indian nuclear reactors. Okay. Now stop writing and listen. This is very much conceptual and is most important part of the exam as well. So far we have discussed that in the decades of 1950s, in international technological development, there came a new concept which is called as nuclear technology. Is clear? We have come to know that this nuclear technology by this time, clear? So understand this with development year on year. As in terms of technological development, it is very important to understand how in decades, how in years the thing developed, clear? So when we are talking about the decades of 50s, you can understand during those days, only one means of peaceful application, that is electricity generation, was developed, clear? We have seen that later on how we have reached to even space technology, that is the modern means. But by this time, world came to know that this nuclear technology can be better utilized in peaceful exploration, that is electricity generation, clear? And destructive, that is atom bomb, clear? Now 1950s, handful of 2 to 3 countries successfully implemented both the means, and they declared that world interest is not towards destructive and complete focus is going on towards peaceful. That is, a handful of 3 to 4 countries have successfully developed the means of nuclear reactor for the generation of electricity, clear? Internationally this thing happened, and by this time this thing happened, a country, India, became independent. Is clear? And it was just the presence of such great scientists that a country will just get independence started working to this technological development, which was very challenging even in science and technology research, because this was a new concept coming. In order to work toward this research, several of the research centers, infrastructure development, these all were the challenges. And second point, also the international pressure was there behind development of such technology, clear? But just with the presence of such great scientists, India started working for this nuclear technology development, clear? So we have seen that how by this time in India, Dr. Bhabha designed 3-stage program. In 3 stage, he designed PHWR, FBR and TBR / AHWR. Is clear? We have seen that Dr. Bhabha's this program was on 2 bases. First thing was very clear, according to geographical data, we have the limited reserves of uranium, vast reserves of thorium, and second, the then available international design of reactors. Because you know, when it comes to design and development, it is the matter of research, and when the thing to be implemented, operationalized, it is a matter of industry, clear? So I have said that by 1945, USSR scientists first came to this concept that what is a nuclear reactor? Technically, the nuclear reactors are designed. First point, this technical design now made available to industry, and by the time of 1945 and all, just 1 or 2 companies started developing the nuclear reactors. As you know, a reactor is a facility to conduct nuclear reaction, and whether is a means of electricity or a means of atom bomb, it is nothing but nuclear reaction. So it was decided by 3 to 4 countries whose hand the nuclear technology was having, that such type of reactor design technology not to be technically transferred to anyone. First point, that is, no any commercial agreement, no any agreement to be made, and reactor design technology not to be given in the hands of any other country, because a serious threat perception regarding atom bomb development was there. Clear? So first they decided that not to share technically design with anyone, and second, one or two companies which first developed the nuclear reactor for electricity generation was also instructed not to sell, not to undergo in any type of agreement with anyone without the permission of USA or USSR. Is clear? So you can understand, highly restricted the reactor design was made by the decades of 1950s. Clear? That is why Dr. Bhabha, as was related to all such development going on, so that is why he informed Government of India that I have designed a program keeping in mind the India's entire requirement and all, but reactor design is just in the hands of 2 to 3 countries, and that was the case, that they are not in a position to allow anyone to work. So he left this completely to Government of India to diplomatically convince these 2 to 3 countries, mainly United States, and make available the design, because when the design will reach to India, then only the program can be made operationalized. Is clear? So in order to operationalize this program, as you know, this program is having 2 bases. One is the natural availability of nuclear fuel, and second is the international reactor design technology. Clear? This was left by Dr. Bhabha to Government of India. Clear? Government of India started this diplomatic exercise to USA, then to USSR. Somehow they convinced USA, and Government of India presented this idea that we have come out with Atomic Energy Act 1948. Clear? And under this act, it is made clear to developed countries, mainly USA, that our act, you can recall, I have discussed that how this act was made only peaceful. Clear? Its security applications were removed. Clear? So this act objective was only peaceful. Clear? So Government of India informed that we have no means to work out to this technological development in any other means than peaceful. So exclusively with peaceful applications, we have come out with Atomic Energy Act 1948. Is clear? Somehow Government of India tried the best to convince USA that our objective is peaceful, and we have a great scientist who have come out with this program. Such type of program during those days was just only available with India. So Government of India then, just after independence, have requested USA to somehow make available as the design, because by the design we want to perform nuclear technology development only for peaceful means. Clear? But as I have said, their stand was different, but somehow Government of India convinced USA. USA agreed on this line, but agreement was made on this line that USA will make available India the reactor design, but in spite of peaceful, India have not to produce even electricity. You can take this reactor design and can only perform research, because you have a great scientist who have designed a program. So we will help you, but not for even electricity generation. If you want to work on science and technology development, only for research, reactor design technology will be made available to you. Is clear? So you can understand, even in peaceful, it is defined that not to produce electricity. Is clear? Only the research can be performed. Now, USA, as I have said, by this time, there were just 1 or 2 companies who have successfully developed the design, and they were instructed not to share this design with anyone. First reactor that was developed in industries was having a great contribution from Canadian scientists. So the plant was even established there. So in the honor of Canadian scientists, the first type of reactor technology that is developed by this time is known as Canada. You can recall one thing. I have said that the Dr. Bhabha's first stage was exactly what was available internationally. You can recall Dr. Bhabha's first stage was exactly what was available internationally. He was having the knowledge. So internationally, what was the first type of reactor? That is powered by heavy water. Heavy water is D2O, so is called as D for D2O. And recall, first type of reactor was based on natural uranium, so is called as uranium. That is natural uranium. So first type of reactor technology developed internationally was can-do reactor design. Is clear? Now, understand one thing. There are coming many such editorials, so I am referring just one point as a mains question is expected. USA allowed Canada to make available the reactor design to India, first point. But the agreement was made that in spite of India's act be peaceful, the reactor only to be utilized for research. Clear? Only to be utilized for research, not other than this, even not electricity to be produced. Clear? So, India decided one thing, that going by this line, India committed that we will never produce electricity even till the time again we will have a new agreement. So Government of India assured USA that you have helped us, we will go by this commitment and we will not produce even electricity till the time we will have a new agreement. Is clear? So India decided to name such reactors as research reactors. Is clear? So you can understand why the name was placed as research reactors, to make it very clear that whatever this reactor design will be implemented in Indian program, it will be just a matter of research. Is clear? Now, coming to that editorial, see, India started working with this, but later on, India started using these reactors for other applications also. At last I will come to this. And when USA came to this point, there started a serious tension between USA, India and Canada. This was the main reason why since then India is deteriorating relations with Canada. The main reason behind this was this reactor design that was made available to India in the name of research, and later on India utilized this even for development of first nuclear bomb of India. Is clear? So this point will be clear to you at last, because many such editorials are coming nowadays related to India-Canada relations. Is clear? So till this is clear to you all, that this reactor design was made available in India in the name of research. So India named first type of reactor as research reactors. Now, the design was made available to Dr. Bhabha, and on the basis of this 3-stage, Dr. Bhabha started working for the development of research reactors. You can understand one thing, whatever we are going to discuss, we are only going to discuss about the first stage. So you can understand one thing, what is the international name? Same thing named by Dr. Bhabha as PHWR. Clear? Because this reactor technology is based on the same concept. Clear? Working by this time, 1956, India became the first country outside the ambit of developed countries who successfully developed first research reactor of Asia. Is clear? and by 1956, on the basis of this technical design, with the help of PHWR technology, the first reactor technology was developed, which is named as Apsara. Is clear? See, whatever I am going to discuss in research reactors is important for prelims. Is clear? So, first type of reactor that is developed is Apsara. Its capacity was 1 megawatt. You can understand? India came to know how to develop reactors. So remarkable development. Second point, with this reactor, Indian nuclear scientists came to know one thing, that how to produce electricity, how to develop atom bomb. But you can understand, serious restrictions was made in the agreement. So government of India not permitted Indian nuclear scientists to do anything with this reactor. Just you have developed this reactor, do the research whatever you want, but not to produce electricity, not to connect it to grid, and not to do anything else to this, because the agreement was made so. Is clear? Now, so this thing happened in the research development. India, going by the commitment, followed this research principle, but I am just giving you one line idea. At last I will link all this development, but by this development, thing not gone well internationally. Many countries now alleged, USA and India, that doing so, now India have come to know what is nuclear technology, have developed a reactor. So who knows, might be some sort of development of atom bomb was going on. So now there started serious allegations, and now there started a threat perception much more in Asia. One of the Indian neighbor, very much advanced in technology, China, alleges that doing so, now USA have made nuclear technology spread, because they came to this point that we will not share nuclear technology with anyone. So China also started working for nuclear technology development. Along with China, many other countries started. Is clear? At the end, I will be linking all this development. Clear? So two things I have said. First, was a remarkable development for India, because India became the first country outside the ambit of developed countries and first country in Asia to develop a research reactor. But second case, internationally, things have not gone well, and as one more country came to know about nuclear technology, so others also started working for nuclear technology development. Is clear? I will be coming to this point again now. Whatever be the case, now Indian scientists came to know about research reactor, so they started focusing here. Going by this, year 1960, with the assistance of Canada, a new reactor, Cyrus, was built. Is clear? The next year, again, you can understand, great cooperation made by these countries to India, again a new reactor. Now understand, year 1961, nuclear technology development come to a very serious point internationally. Clear? So coming to the second point, India's nuclear test, as I have said, has not gone well internationally. Clear? Many countries, most importantly China, started working for the development of nuclear technology. Year 1961, a very challenging year for nuclear technology development. The year a country, by this time a country, India, developed the technology, but gone by the commitment, gone by the agreement, was not doing anything to the reactors, only doing the research. But year 1961, China successfully tested both peaceful and destructive means of nuclear technology. Now, this have changed the complete regulation and nuclear technological transfer of technology agreements. Defense Committee later recommended that it was the main reason behind 1962 Indo-China War. Now, with this, recall one thing what I have said at the very start, that in the independence year itself, when Dr. Bhabha was suggesting to the present government about this newly emerging discipline of technology, what he suggested, that this technology is having much more significance for security reason, because in the coming days, this is a technology that is going to guide international relations. This is a technology that is even going to guide the bilateral trades between two countries. So, such importance was of this technology regarding security, but you can recall what I have said by this time, that Government of India came to this point that if we will place destructive means in whatever name, no one will even talk us regarding technological transfer. And you can understand even the case, India exclusively presented the objective of Atomic Energy Act as peaceful means. But in spite of this, the agreement was not allowed, that is made by USA to India, even to produce electricity. So you can understand what would be the case when we would come out with the security applications. So was the case that in spite of having technology in hands, agreement was so India by 61 status was this. But now when a new country successfully tested both the means of nuclear technology, now became a serious concern not only for India but also for international developments, because a new country have successfully tested the nuclear explosion. So now 1961 onwards, now the thing transformed. Again coming to 2 points of development. First point, 1961 China's test led now nuclear technology approach in 2 points. First point, international development. Internationally, now developed countries planned that if the thing will not be stopped, now every country will start the test, and if such test will happen, you can recall what I have said by 50s, when USA President addressed the world, what he said, atom for peace proposal. Their objective was now stop this program of atom bomb and now work only towards peaceful. Now, but what after 61? It is worked out that if the thing will not be stopped, it will spread and nuclear bomb will come to many hands and entire humanity will come to a challenge. So, going by all this mean, now first, international development after 1961. The developed countries planned to come out with international treaties to stop the spread of nuclear. Is clear? So first, 61 after international status, there started coming of international treaties. Clear? So here I am writing international treaties, not very much important for science and technology, but just I am referring to link out this development. International treaties, first case, clear? Coming to the second point, India. India approached to USA, and India presented this idea that, see, you have made available the design. We were the first country who successfully implemented this design, but see, in spite of having this design, now see the case of ours. We are going by the agreement and we are only performing research, but take the case of others. Others have developed peaceful and destructive means. So 61 onwards, international development, there started coming of treaties via UN. The first treaty that came by 1963 is known as PTBT, Partial Test Ban Treaty. A decision was taken that now leave one more country, very advanced in science and technology, China, have come to know about how to develop atom bomb, take on board that country and now present this treaty in front of UN General Assembly, take signature of all, that is Test Ban Treaty. That here onwards, whoever have tested, now here onwards, no one will have a test of nuclear. Clear? Treaty was presented, there started ratification and signatures of this treaty. At first, developed countries signed. So they have taken into confidence all. So almost every country in the world signed PTBT. Clear? Now, why is called partial? Because there were three: land, air and water. Options was presented that on land, air and water, no country after 1963 will undergo any type of nuclear test explosion. Clear? As I have said, all signed, so India also signed. Is clear? I'll be coming to this again now. Coming to India's case, this was the international development started by UN. India approached to US and said that you have restricted ourselves and see others are producing electricity and bomb also. So now in 1962, for the first and last time, this agreement was made with USA, and on this very basis India amended this act, and now there came a new act, Atomic Energy Act 1962. Same objective, peaceful. Clear? But in this peaceful, now exclusively for commercial electricity generation. And with this act, now USA agreed that now we will help you towards electricity generation. Clear? So now 62, again a new agreement made with USA. This agreement was exclusively for research. Now this agreement exclusively for commercial generation of electricity. Clear? Now, because I have said by this time there were just few companies who were having the technological development in their hand, and there was one famous company of USA, General Electric. So agreement was made between India and USA, and USA government allowed General Electric that go to India, government of India will provide you the land and establish the atomic power stations for India for the generation of electricity from nuclear technology. Clear? So for electricity generation, now to make it very clear that what we are going to use with this reactor, now government of India renamed this reactor as energy reactor. Clear? Technically this is called as APS, atomic power stations. Clear? So 62 onwards, now there came two type of reactor technology in India. First is research reactor and second is energy reactor. Clear? The company reached in India by 63. It has taken around 6 to 7 years. By 69, the first energy reactor was developed in India at Tarapur, Maharashtra, so called as TAPS, Tarapur Atomic Power Station. Clear? Now, 69, this was the status of India. Became a country, just one country after China, who came to know about how to produce electricity. And 69, successfully electricity was generated from this power plant. Is clear? Now, by 69, now the development happened here, that again, so now India's focus reached mainly to this type of reactor technology. So again, with the assistance in year 1973, Rawat Bhata, Rajasthan, second power plant was established. Is clear? Now, 73, this was the case. Here, in 1972, there started a research reactor development that is called as Purnima series. 1, Purnima 1 developed by 1972. Understand one point, what is the objective of this reactor? Purnima reactors are used to produce plutonium-239 isotopes. Is clear? Why it is so? It will be clear to you later on. So, 1972-73, This was the Indian case. Is clear? India's status was this. Now, there happened international development by this time that by 1967-68, a very restricted treaty was introduced, NPT, Non-Proliferation Treaty. Itself today, its deliberations are on. Clear? This treaty was having even strict provisions, but after the first treaty, now everyone stopped signing any treaties related to nuclear, because everyone came to know that many countries are having nuclear in their hand. So who knows what the countries are doing behind? So by which now international treaties started losing relevance. Clear? Became just a matter of deliberation, and no one started signing any treaties related to nuclear. Is clear? Now, 73. So 67 this treaty came, deliberation started. 72, 73, this was the status of India. Now, by 72, 73, India's relations with few of the neighbors started deteriorating, and India started facing few such frequent wars. And internationally, there started coming of many such news that there are many countries who are also developing nuclear. So such type of news led India, as I have said at very first, it was suggested by Indian scientists that nuclear technology is such whose hand it will be safe. That is, this is a technology, not a means of war. This is a technology to avert war, because just having this technology, no one will dare to wage a war with you. So now the thing was very clear by independence year itself, but now have emphasized more and more by Indian scientists to Indian government that the more you will delay, the more serious consequences India will face in terms of international security implications. So now government of India, you can understand, caught in a serious position. Agreement was made only for research. Agreement was made for electricity, and previous government signed PTBT. So thing became very challenging for government of India by then how to allow Indian scientists to work for development of nuclear explosion. You can understand, entire facilities were available, but it was the international agreements and signature to PTBT that was not allowing Indian government to allow Indian scientists to work on nuclear explosion. But situation became so that somehow the then Prime Minister allowed Indian nuclear scientists to now start preparing for nuclear explosion. Is clear? So see, what I am going to write here is not under the Indian nuclear program. Always have in mind. Is not our Indian nuclear program. Even it was declared by Government of India that we had the test with changing international equations. Is clear? So this thing not to be written in questions. Clear? If not asked. Clear? I am just explaining these two things additionally to make you clear the nuclear technology development. Is clear? So this is nuclear explosion test. Government of India allowed nuclear scientists to now prepare for explosion. So nuclear scientists suggested to government that, see, you have signed PTBT. What is PTBT? Test ban on land, air and water. So it is suggested by Indian nuclear scientists that we can't have test on these three. We will make some arrangement by which we can test underground. Clear? Somehow in underground we can have the nuclear explosion test. So now at least a solution for PTBT. Second point, now world came to know that what is weapon graded nuclear material. that is plutonium 239. So Purnima reactor by this time was made to produce plutonium 239. Clear? Using this reactor plutonium in 1974, India performed the first nuclear explosion test in Pokhran, Rajasthan, underground, utilizing the plutonium made from this reactor. Clear? Now, year 1974, India again became a single country who tested nuclear explosion, and the thing became so serious because in spite of signing to PTBT, India tested nuclear explosion. Clear? They started testing after signing also. That is why this treaty, it was later worked out that there must be an option of underground here. They missed the underground option. That is why many countries later tested underground. Clear? So as India also. Clear? So 1974. Now understand with this test. So first, how I started? 1950, what was the status international? Second, 61, what was the status? Now third, 1974. The thing became worse. Like the thing became worse internationally when China tested the nuclear. Clear? International relations became so worse that 1974 when India tested, Government of India, the then Prime Minister, declared this test objective as Smiling Buddha. And they said that now we have tested this bomb not for explosion. But USA reacted sharply that we have made available you this design, agreement was so, and for the first time this is one of the case that India have performed something internationally that is not according to the agreements. So USA reacted sharply and India's deteriorated relation started with USA and Canada. That is, we made available you the design because internationally everyone started blaming USA and Canada that you were the one who helped India and by which India tested this one. So USA made it very clear that we were not behind this. So USA have taken a very serious stance against India. And in 1975, USA established one organization and accepted that it was our fault that we supplied this design to India. Then only Indian nuclear research program operationalized. So these all are UN treaties. Here I am writing a separate thing. Is not a treaty made by UN, is an organization made by USA in 1975 in the response of this Pokhran one. NSG, USA accepted that what the fault made? Nuclear supply. Had it been the supplied, not made, India would not have tested any type of nuclear technology development. So this organization is named as Nuclear Supplier Group. And now it is made compulsory to all that whatever supply of nuclear materials, and you know there are four things: nuclear fuel, moderator, coolant and control rods. So whoever will undergo any type of agreements in nuclear supply, they have to inform to NSG. That is, any supply will be made via NSG. Now you can understand, very highly restricted. If a country have to go with to purchase uranium, they have to inform NSG. First step. Second step, USA sanctioned India economically. Trade sanctions and all were imposed. This was the main reason behind deteriorating Indian economic position from 1975 to 1990, by which India started the LPG reforms. Clear? Now, what happened to India by 1974? I am just linking a current information because so many editorials are coming nowadays with this. You might have some idea, like USA and Iran, tensions are going on. This is the same reason of tension with USA and Iran. Iran nuclear program is also of peaceful, but there is a international agency IAEA, International Atomic Energy Agency, that visits entire nuclear facilities in the world and in a closed envelope reports to UN and inform UN that entire nuclear plants in the world no way is utilized other than peaceful. In one of the report of IAEA, it is just said that Iran is enriching uranium to higher percentage. Just one line report was made to IAEA to UN. Now, to this, USA reacted sharply. So, there started 2-point serious controversy between USA and Iran. First controversy is IAEA have to report to UN, then why US is asking for enrichment of uranium? This is a question must be asked by UN, first thing. And second thing, Iran came to this point that our nuclear program is peaceful, so we are not in a position to report to anyone that to what percentage we are enriching uranium. After which USA started sanctioning Iran economically exactly the way the sanctions were made in India by 1975. Is clear? So now 1974, now a new turn, 61 a new turn, now 74 a new turn. Serious sanctions were made to India. Now, whatever be the case, but you can understand, India became a country who knows how to develop atom bomb and successfully tested also. Clear? So, by this time, the then government declared, and the then government declared one thing that also became a matter of controversy, that we have tested a very low capacity bomb. It was declared that we have tested a very low capacity bomb in Pokhran 1. This was also one of the reasons, in spite of the test, the developed countries have not accorded the status of India as a nuclear weapon state. Now you can understand, they have not accepted that your bomb is something like not up to the mark, so you are not a nuclear weapon state. Clear? I'll be coming to this point again now. 74, India declared that our objective is not so, our objective is peaceful. So now India focused here. While focusing here, now Purnima reactor was upgraded to Purnima 2 by 1984, then Purnima 3 by 1990. Clear? And one last research reactor was made in 1984, that is Dhruv, that is the largest capacity research reactor of India, so important. Clear? After which you can understand, with 5 research reactors is enough to have the research. So now this project was almost stopped. We have 5 research reactors. All 5 research reactors are working for nuclear technology research. Clear? And India completely stopped working here, and completely focus on electricity generation. But thing became challenging here, because you can understand these plants were established with the assistance of USA, and USA company stopped assisting, so thing became very challenging in the operationalization of such plants. So now India diversified its stand and decided to reach to Russia and started nuclear technology agreements with Russia and other countries. Clear? So doing so, now Russia here onwards, so 74 onwards, now Russia started assisting, and year 1984, again a new plant in Madras. It was called as Madras Atomic Power Station, now name changed to Kalpakam. Is clear? Now 84, 91, Narora UP, again a plant. Okay. 96, very much important for prelims, Kakrapar, Gujarat. Okay. So I've reached by 1996. Clear? So recall, first turn of events internationally started in 61, China's test. Second turn of event started by 74, India's test. Now third turn of events. So 74 to 96 I have reached. By this time, this was the India's status. With the assistance of Russia, now India established 5 nuclear power stations and electricity was commercially generated from nuclear technology. 96. Now, recall what I have just now said regarding Pokhran 1, that the then government declared it as a smiling Buddha and also declared that the bomb was very low capacity. So in spite of having a nuclear bomb, no country was taking India seriously. So this was again a challenge that we have tested nuclear also, but no one is saying even as nuclear weapon state. So now 96, they started changing of regime, the same regime that is now. The then Prime Minister, even in their election manifesto by 96, the then Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee declared that when we will come to power, we will have full-fledged nuclear explosion test. The test that is claimed by developed countries. Now you can understand. Such type of great claim is started making by the government which was expected to be coming in power by 1908. Clear? So, coming to these points, now just take a case. So, 96 onwards, this was the Indian case in peaceful. 96, a declaration, and such declaration was making international headlines that a party which is expected to come to power in India by the time this party was in opposition and saying such thing that by coming to power we will have such nuclear bomb test which is in the hands of developed countries. So coming with such international news, now a very strict treaty, 96, CTBT, you might have heard, Comprehensive Test Ban Treaty. This is so far the strict treaty that have introduced in nuclear technology. But understand one thing, I have said to you by 63, treaties lost its relevance because everyone started coming to some point of excuse in signing. For example, when the treaty was presented to India, India said that we are having threat perception with one nation. When they will sign it first, then we will sign. Now, it's very challenging. Who will sign it first? Because it's the case that if say one will sign, after which one will say that no, I will not sign. And you can understand what to do then. So due to these two excuses, no treaties are signed. Same thing happened to others. When it is asked to others to sign, they also say that take the signature of someone we are having threat perception. So just who will sign first, no treaties are signed yet. Is clear? But CTBT was very strict. In CTBT, there was a provision. Because by 63 to 96, world came to know one thing, that in spite of treaty, in spite of restrictions, somehow we failed to stop the spread of nuclear. So CTBT came out with one provision that if 44 countries, member states, will put a signature, then there will be even war. Who will have a test? So it's called as Comprehensive Test Ban Treaty. 2 point I have said that this treaty was so strict that there was a provision of war if anyone now will test nuclear. Is clear? But now it was a diplomatic achievement of Government of India that somehow countries were convinced with many so reasons, and the number was not met. By the time number was not met, the then government, the opposition party came to power, and by 98, the then government allowed again in Pokhran the nuclear test explosion. Now this test was like developed countries' claim of nuclear bomb. In this test, total 5 explosions were made. One was a 45 kiloton nuclear bomb explosion. One was of 12 kiloton nuclear bomb explosion. Two tests were physical underground test of bombs, and three tests were made by supercomputers, such is called as nuclear simulation test. Now, by doing 5 type of tests, now India declared that now what we have tested are the world class nuclear bombs. The then Prime Minister named it as Operation Shakti, was declared by 98. Now, with this, now India declared a nuclear weapon state. First point. Second point. Now 98, the last turn of events in nuclear technology development. Now when India declared that now what we have tested are the world class nuclear weapons. So now international stance changed, and now it is declared to India that now you have tested nuclear, but being a responsible nation, declare to the world the way USA President declared in 1950s that how you take the nuclear. So the then Prime Minister came out with 4-point nuclear doctrine declaration, and he informed the world that India will follow the 4-point principles after having world-class nuclear explosion test of Pokhran 2. And he assured that not only the government of 98, but all future governments of India will go by this 4-point principle that declared by the then Prime Minister in 1998. But came out with this point that the declaration is a means that will only be having its meaning when world will follow the same. Is clear? That is, he assured that India will follow this 4-point. The first point was no first use. India assured the world that India will never be the country who will first use nuclear in the world. Second, no use of nuclear weapons against non-nuclear weapon state. India declared that if India will have even with serious war with any country, and if that country have declared that we are not having any nuclear bomb in our hand, India will never use nuclear bomb against those. Third, voluntarily moratorium on further nuclear test explosion. The then Prime Minister assured the world that now I am voluntarily declaring that no future governments in India will have any explosion test, because now what we have tested are the full-fledged nuclear bombs. But the fourth point, minimum credible deterrence. But all this will have any meaning when world will go with the same order. It is not the case that India assured the world that we will not test nuclear and others will started having the test. If there will come a news internationally that say country A today have tested nuclear, then he declared that India will also start testing the nuclear. Now you can understand this 4-point nuclear doctrine of India now not only made regulated nuclear technology in India, but also regulated nuclear technology in world. And to this 4-point declaration, now internationally, now the nuclear technology stance changed, and developed countries came with India and assured the world that now it's the time to focus not on a spread. Recall how 50s the step started to stop the spread, but now focus is just only one, to make safe nuclear installations, because now the concern is that if the nuclear will go in the wrong hands, say non-state actors like terrorism, how the disastrous it will be for human life. So now, with many such cases, with navigation systems and all, nuclear installations are put at serious check and balance. Nuclear scientist movement even is monitored, because now it's the matter since 98 that how safe to be the nuclear. But India's stance of this have made the world in this order that 98 onwards, no one have even tested nuclear in any way in the world. Is clear? So, this was the reason behind changing stance of nuclear technology in security reason. Clear? So, 98 onwards you can understand one thing, the complete focus of any country like India also reaches to electricity or research. Now coming to applications recall. By 98, recall in application how I started, 50s to 80s, 80s to 2000, 2000 to present. So by this time, what was happening in development of atom bomb or whatever, by this time, our nuclear scientists came to this point that see, not only electricity generation, agriculture, water management, health and medicine, everywhere nuclear technology can be utilized. Is clear? So now you can understand, when such application started coming, such reactors became very meaningful. Recall, you have written, cobalt 60 is used for cancer treatment. Now, cobalt 60 are produced from Dhruv and it is supplied to cancer hospitals in India. Now you can understand. So when there started coming of many such applications, research reactor became meaningful. Point number one. And point number two, now complete focus on electricity. Is clear? So now, after which year 2000, in Karnataka, Kaiga, and the last one, most important, year 2013, Kundankulam, Tamil Nadu. Now understand. So, 98 onwards, India's complete focus on energy reactors, that is electricity generation. Now, you have written in India's status of nuclear technology development, operational, demonstration, developmental. Recall what Dr. Bhabha suggested regarding operationalization. That first stage to be made operationalized, second will make India self-reliant, third will make India the nuclear power in the world. But see the challenges faced by India in operationalization. Thing was not so simple as the way Dr. Bhabha has written in his draft. When India started operationalizing the reactor technologies for electricity generation, things started coming in this way, that whatever plant we have established, all plants are developed, established, made operationalized by either the assistance of USA or USSR. First point. Second point, since 1969 till 2020, now I am directly coming from 1969 to 2020, our entire plant was assisted by foreign nations. Clear? Doing by this, in spite of a country who started working by 1969 in electricity generation, a country in spite of having 7 plant, and out of 7 plant, here I am writing present status, out of 7 APS, 22 energy reactors are operational at present. Just think of it. A country which started by 69, even late to India, those who started have reached to surplus energy generation, because you know 1 kg example. But see the challenges India faced. India's total electricity generation itself is 3%. Very serious challenge. Once was asked in prelims. Now you can understand. In spite of this much development, so far we have just reached to this extent that our total requirement of electricity, only 3% is produced by nuclear energy, a serious challenge. Clear? So now coming to the challenge. Developed countries now are surplus. They are generating surplus electricity than their requirement. You can understand why. Because same 1 kg example. But see the case of India, itself 3%. So now coming to challenges. First challenges, over dependency to foreign nation for reactor establishment. Clear? So huge costs are involved in the establishment of plant, in the operationalization of plant. Point number one. So our previous government's policies were not so much favorable to work towards this challenges address. Clear? So first thing what I have pointed, that challenges in technology development. Year 2020, for the first time, the present government have taken a serious stance to this and introduced indigenous development, and present government instructed entire nuclear scientists in India that start developing nuclear reactors by Indian technology. Why you are completely relying since 1969 to foreign nation? That government of India will sign an agreement with someone and that some company will come to establish a reactor in India? Clear? So point number one, to address these challenges, indigenous development have started. Clear? Now, government of India started releasing huge fund to Indian nuclear scientists, and going by this, just in few years, in 2020, 100% indigenous technology based, India's first reactor of 700 megawatt was established. Clear? This reactor is placed at Kakarpar, Gujarat plant. Clear? Just few days before, this reactor have become critical. Now you understand what is critical? Recall what I have said. A reactor is developed, fission is started. No meaning of this. Till the time it will sustain the chain. When it sustains the chain, technically the reactor is called as critical. So now you can understand. 2020, India successfully developed with 100% Indianized technology the first indigenous reactor. Clear? The reactor was approved to be established by Government of India to Kakarpar, Gujarat plant. And just few days before, now this reactor have become critical. First point development. So you can understand, in order to address the challenges, whatever I am going to discuss is the current developments. Clear? So in order to address these challenges, very much important for the coming exam. First thing what I have said, indigenous development. Clear? Second thing, now understand one thing. It was worked out and Government of India given this task to Niti Aayog, that come out with this point, that why from 69 till date we have this much plant and this is our case. So Niti Aayog in its report submitted to Government of India presented that there are various challenges our nuclear projects are facing. The main challenge is land allotment. Now recall the days of 50s, 60s and all. During those days, you can understand the print media, the social networking media was not so advanced. So during those days, no one was having much more idea that if a nuclear plant is established, there comes radiation and all. But now you can understand, everyone, many villagers, many NGOs gone there, they have shown that see what happened in Nagasaki, Hiroshima. If a radiation will come out, what will happen? So villagers started protesting. This is one of the reasons why since 2013, no land Government of India have successfully taken from any of the villagers in order to establish the new power plant. Because now villagers have rejected that no, we will not allocate our land for nuclear technology development. Second serious challenge faced by India. Now Government of India, Ministry of Home Affairs also have worked that which all NGOs are informing or which all NGOs are spreading such rumors to villagers and by which villagers are coming to threat perception. So this is at work, but whatever be the case, you can understand, huge protest by villagers. Protest even reached to this point that Government of India planned to expand Kundankulam plant in Tamil Nadu, and entire Russian technology, Russian scientists, Russian engineers arrived, huge protest made, years on year the protest gone. Now then the company was returned, agreement was cancelled with huge protest made by villagers, because you can understand it's very challenging in a democratic structure to convince without taking into confidence them. So now Government of India came to this point that what to do in order to work out to address this challenge. Now you can understand it's a very serious challenge to implement a project on a land which is not made allocated by anyone. Clear? So now Niti Aayog suggested to this point that what India is facing, developed countries also are facing this thing, because many plants are not established in many places internationally by huge protest. Because now you can understand, everyone knows that if say nearby the town, nearby the village, if a nuclear plant will be established, and this thing became much more serious by several of the accidents happen in Japan. The more serious is the Fukushima nuclear accident. The entire Fukushima town was now made vacant. So now you can say this is also one of the international development that alarmed the population regarding nuclear power plant. So what to do then? So now Niti Aayog suggested that go by the global trend. Global trend is now, so land allotment is a challenge for everyone. So how developed countries address this challenge? Developed countries came to this point that is very challenging to come out with a new project land. So do one thing. We have 7 plants. Develop small reactors and establish small reactors in the plant itself to the area whatever is vacant. Just take a case. Such reactors capacities are 2000 megawatt, 700 megawatt, 1400 megawatt. Clear? So just take a case. In order to establish a plant of 2000 megawatt, huge space is required to establish a 2000 megawatt nuclear reactor. Now, it is suggested that instead of 2000, do one thing. Establish small reactors of capacity 300. These reactors are factory assembled. You can purchase this reactor, no need to establish the project. Purchase this reactor, establish in the facility. It takes very less space to place such reactors. So very simple, it will take less space. So just take a case 300 megawatt. So 300 megawatt into 6, 1800 megawatt. So just in a limited space, 1800 megawatt can be produced, and in order to establish 1800 megawatt power plant, we need several acres of land. Clear? So now the second point suggestion of Niti Aayog to Government of India is global trend is SMR. Very important question for prelims. Small modular reactors. These are the modern reactors of 300 megawatt capacity. Very small reactors and remarkable technological development. Factory assembled. In case of atomic power station, the complete station 5 to 6 year project is established. But it's very simple. No need to have any station. Purchase this reactor, establish anywhere you want. But it has been decided that it will be placed in the existing facilities. Because these existing facilities, inside the boundary wall, there are several places vacant. So same place to be acquired for the same, no new project establishment. Is clear? Now, second development, third, the most important. Just few months before, in the union budget, so these three are very much important for mains. In this last union budget, for the first time Government of India have declared one point, that now going by the suggestion of Niti Aayog, we are going to implement SMR to our facilities to increase the percentage of this. At the same time, again just take a case. Going to purchase SMR and establish here, again what will happen? Again dependency to foreign nation. Clear? that we have to purchase. Previously what we were doing, we were undergoing agreements to establish project. Now what the new trend, they have developed SMR, so we will go to purchase SMR. So now in this union budget it is declared that India initially will purchase SMR, but India will not become dependent to foreign nation to purchase SMR. And now Government of India have instructed Indian Nuclear Technology Organization to come out with the technical means to design and develop indigenously on the lines of SMR, BSR, Bharat Small Reactors. And present government have declared in this union budget that in the coming years we will start the production of Bharat Small Reactors, and doing so in the coming years we will make India's nuclear technology full indigenous development. Is clear? So you can understand, you have written a question also. Indigenous development is the new approach introduced by the present government in our nuclear technology development. So in the coming mains, very important question is expected on this line. Is clear? So now the last development, Union Budget 24-25 have presented the idea of BSR. Clear? Technically speaking, BSR is on the similar lines to SMR. Clear? But now no development have yet started. It is just declared. In the coming days you will find that which company is allocated to develop BSR and all, what will be the capacity of BSR, that is to be updated. Just one line declaration made by the present government in the recent union budget. Is clear? आ गया समझ? Anyone can explain? इससे पता चलेगा listening ability में कुछ improvement है या नहीं? Because my main objective is to improve your listening ability, because your writing ability is much more improved. Clear? But listening ability is not so, and listening ability is very much important to develop the analytical side of mind. Is clear? So on the basis of what you have listened, anyone can explain me the operationalization of Indian nuclear program? You can go once with the revision. Clear? Complete operationalization ko, the way I have explained, have to explain. Clear? If you will explain, then I will dictate. If you will not explain, then there is no meaning of dictation. Clear? फिर डिक्टेशन का कोई फायदा नहीं है, because you can understand notes, much more updated notes you can take from the market. Is clear? My notes becomes available in the market just 2-3 months before exam. So not the issue of notes making, main issue is understanding. Clear? So board को देखने हैं and have to explain me regarding operationalization of Indian nuclear program. Clear? Who will explain? किसे लगता है कि हम explain कर पाएंगे और किसे किसे लगता है हम नहीं कर पाएंगे? ऐसा तो किसी को नहीं लग रहा होगा, नहीं कर पाएंगे. ठीक है? So revise, explain करने हैं अभी. Who is ready to explain? You can explain. यहाँ से 50 से शुरू होके या 24-25 तक have to explain. Clear? Go by the revision and have to explain. क्योंकि जब explanation start होगा तो ये गायब हो जाएगा. Okay. Now, revise. Or you want once again I will summarize, then you can revise. एक बार समराइज कर दे क्या? ओके, सी 1950s, a new technology development. Clear? By this time, India, one of Indian scientists designed this program of 3 stages, and Atomic Energy Act 1948 was passed to execute this program. Then India approached to USA. India was made available this design in the name of peaceful, but agreement was made that only India have to work for research, not electricity generation. So India decided to name the first type of reactors as research reactors. Clear? There started the development. Development was going on till 61, but by the time 61, thing changed. So first change started by 61 internationally when China tested. So 61, now again India reached to USA. So again this act was amended. In this amendment, now USA agreed that again we will assist to you in electricity generation. With assistance of USA, now there started development of atomic power stations. Such reactors are named as second type, that is energy reactors. There started the development. Development was going on. By the time India decided to undergo nuclear explosion test, that is not under the Indian nuclear program, that is not even under the Indian objectives. So separately, it was just a decision made by the present government, and they allowed Indian nuclear scientists to go for the explosion test. Going by the same, in order to develop plutonium, they developed a reactor called Purnima. Plutonium was taken and Pokhran 1 was performed. Clear? After which sanction was made to India, but India started focusing more on the energy reactors and program furthered with the assistance of Russia. Clear? Now, so by 96, this was the development. By 96, the then government declared that now we will have the full-fledged nuclear explosion test. That was made by 98 in Pokhran 2. So by 98, now we completely focused here when the Prime Minister declared the 4-point nuclear doctrine in India, and after which we started focusing on here. But what we came to notice just few years before, that in spite of 7 plant we are working since 69, still we are producing just 3% of electricity. So Government of India assigned this task to Niti Aayog to find the reason behind the challenges and what to do to address these challenges. So Niti Aayog came to this point that our program and previous government policies were such that they were heavily dependent of foreign nations in implementation of reactor technology. So now the first immediate decision taken, and indigenous development started. With this indigenous development, year 2020, with 100% indigenous technology, 700 megawatt research reactors was made. Government of India approved this to establish at Kakarpar, Gujarat plant. Few days before, reactor have made operational, and such type of reactor development now going on. Clear? Second point was found that since 2013, the present government or any government in India have failed to take any land for new projects. Huge protest from the villagers was the main reason. Same thing was found in developed countries also. So Niti Aayog suggested that go by the global trend. And what is the global trend? Now new type of reactors which are made in factory assembled reactors called SMR. Purchase those reactor and established in the plant itself. Clear? Now the third point, Government of India, going by all this suggestion of Niti Aayog, declared in union budget that for the time being we are going to purchase the SMR from the developed countries, but now we are going to start a new project of reactor development. Such reactors are named as BSR, Bharat Small Reactors, and in the coming days, such reactors with indigenous development in coming years will make our program completely indigenous, and India will become self-reliant in nuclear technology development. Is clear? अब explain करने हैं. हाँ हाँ, इसे रहने दे या हटा दे? ठीक है. After 74, then India focused on here. Then after 96, small modular reactors.
And by in 2024 and 25, the present government introduced in union budget to introduce Bharat small reactors, so that
that will make India's program indigenous and self-reliant. Is clear? Good. ऐसे ही याद रखते हैं. These concepts always to have in your mind, because when this concept will be in your mind, then your real preparation will start. That is, you will be able to read an article from the newspaper. Now you can understand, an article written in, say, in Hindu by a nuclear scientist. You can understand how challenging is article to study by a common person. Clear? But now you are in a position, you know what is nuclear technology, how nuclear technology development is started, What is the international case? So now you are in a position to read the editorials related to nuclear technology. Is clear? This is the real preparation, and this is the preparation required for the present exam, because many times giving in a clear message, UPSC experts have asked question from editorial. You can understand, it is not the case that they can't make a question. They are giving a clear message that, see, we have asked this editorial question. Our focus is to get your answer from editorials. That is, they want you to read editorials because they want you to make a generalist officer who must have such general ideas and quick in reading, analyzing, understanding. So their source is newspaper. So the point is clear. The main utilization of lectures and classes to understand the concept, notes is with you, but no need to work with notes now. Work only with newspaper. While doing the work with newspaper, update the notes. Matter of revision of notes for anyone is just 2 to 3 months before exam. Is clear? Okay. So tomorrow we'll write. And what about the question?